I didn't ruin your career. I just pressed send.
Marriage is like custom cabinetry. One wrong cut and it all goes to heck. I should know. I've been building both for the better part of a decade. And tonight, watching my wife Sienna push me away on the dance floor like I'm some creep at a nightclub, I'm pretty sure I just made the biggest cut of my life. "Stop, you're embarrassing me," she hisses, her perfectly manicured hands shoving against my chest. The charity gala is in full swing around us. Portland's tech elite swirling in their designer dresses and $1,000 suits. I don't want to look taken. The words hit harder than a sledgehammer to the gut. Around us, conversations pause. Phones appear like magic, cameras pointed our way. In the age of social media, every moment is content, every humiliation goes viral. I look at my wife, really look at her. When did Sienna Harper become this person? When did the woman who used to steal my hoodies and laugh at my terrible jokes transform into this image-obsessed stranger who can't stand being seen with her own husband? Problem solved, I say, my voice carrying that dry sarcasm that's gotten me through 15 years of construction sites and client meetings. I slip my wedding ring off my finger, the simple gold band I've worn for 8 years, and place it deliberately on the nearest cocktail table. The effect is immediate. Gasps ripple through the crowd like a stone dropped in still water. Kara Whitman, Sienna's best friend and professional gossip, actually squeals as she starts filming with her phone. The ring sits there on the white linen, catching the chandelier light like a tiny spotlight on the death of my marriage. "What the heck are you doing?" Sienna's voice climbs an octave, but I'm already walking away, hands in my pockets, shoulders relaxed. Let her explain this one to her Instagram followers. The valet brings my truck around, a beat-up Ford F-150 that looks hilariously out of place among the BMWs and Teslas. As I drive home through the quiet streets of our suburban neighborhood, my phone buzzes constantly, text after text, but I ignore them all. Our house sits at the end of Maple Street, a character-filled colonial that I've spent 3 years renovating room by room. The wraparound porch, the restored hardwood floors, the custom kitchen cabinets I built with my own hands. All of it suddenly feels like a monument to my own stupidity. Inside, the silence is deafening. But I've never heard my own heartbeat so clearly. I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and settle into my workshop in the basement. Surrounded by my tools, the smell of sawdust and wood stain, I finally allow myself to think about what just happened. About what's been happening for months, if I'm being honest. The late nights at the office, the mysterious business trips, the way Sienna flinches when I touch her, like my calloused hands might contaminate her perfect image. The constant criticism, my clothes, my truck, my friends, my embarrassing blue-collar background that she used to say she loved. My phone buzzes again. This time it's not a text. It's my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Avery. "Saw your wife with that young man from her office again today," the message reads. "They looked cozy at that coffee shop on Pine Street. Thought you should know." Mrs. Avery has lived next door for 40 years. She sees everything, knows everyone's business, and despite her meddling reputation, she's never steered me wrong. I stare at the message, bourbon burning in my throat. That young man, Tristan Bell. I've met him exactly twice at company functions. Mid-20s, perfectly styled hair, the kind of guy who calls himself an influencer and takes selfies with his protein shakes. He works in marketing at Sienna's tech startup, supposedly some hotshot with social media campaigns. I set down my glass and really think about this. The timeline, the behavior changes, the sudden obsession with her appearance and image, the way she's been working late on projects with the marketing team. Upstairs, I find Sienna's laptop open on the kitchen counter. She's always been careless with passwords, uses our wedding date for everything. Used to find it romantic. Now it just seems naive. Her email loads, and there it is. Thread after thread with Tristan Bell. At first, they're professional. Campaign strategies, client feedback, meeting schedules. But as I scroll down, they get personal. Flirty, then explicit. "Can't wait for our weekend getaway. I've been thinking about you all day." The hotel in Portsmouth looks perfect. Just us, no interruptions. I hate lying to Evan, but he wouldn't understand what we have. My hands are surprisingly steady as I screenshot everything. The emails, the hotel reservation, the detailed plans for their romantic weekend that's supposed to happen next Friday. Sienna's business conference in New Hampshire. I copy everything to a secure folder, then close the laptop and pour another bourbon. Sometimes justice is as simple as pressing save. The front door slams around midnight. Sienna storms in, still in her gala dress, makeup smeared, fury radiating from every pore. "What the heck was that tonight?" she shouts, throwing her purse on the counter. "Do you have any idea what you've done to my reputation? To my career?" I lean against the doorframe, bourbon making everything slightly soft around the edges. "I solved your problem. You didn't want to look taken. Now you don't." "This isn't a joke, Evan. Kara's video already has 3,000 views. People are calling me, texting, asking what happened. My boss saw it on Facebook. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to be single while still married." She freezes, and I see the moment she realizes I know. The color drains from her face, but she recovers quickly. Sienna's always been good at spinning stories. "I don't know what you think you know, but I know about Tristan." My voice stays level, conversational. "I know about Portsmouth. I know about the hotel room you booked for next weekend." For a moment, she looks like she might deny it. Then her expression hardens into something I don't recognize. "So what? You think I'm supposed to stay trapped in this boring suburban life forever? You think I'm supposed to be satisfied with a husband who builds cabinets and drives a pickup truck?" There it is. The truth, finally. Not an affair born of passion or loneliness, but simple embarrassment. I'm not good enough for the image she wants to project. "Fair enough," I say, finishing my bourbon. "Enjoy your conference." Friday morning, Sienna leaves for her business conference with 2 suitcases and enough makeup for a photo shoot. She kisses my cheek like nothing's changed, tells me she'll be back Sunday night, and drives off in her white Audi toward her weekend of romance. What she doesn't know is that I installed a GPS tracker in her car 3 days ago. What she also doesn't know is that I took the day off work and I'm following her at a comfortable distance in a rental sedan. The drive to Portsmouth takes 2 hours. I stay 3 cars back, watching her white Audi navigate traffic with the confidence of someone who thinks they're getting away with something. My phone shows her location as a steady blue dot moving north on I-95. The Seaside Inn is exactly what you'd expect from a romantic getaway. All weathered shingles and ocean views, the kind of place that charges $300 a night for the privilege of pretending you're in a Nicholas Sparks movie. I park across the street and wait. Tristan arrives 20 minutes later in a red BMW convertible. Because, of course he does. Even from a distance, I can see his perfectly styled hair and designer sunglasses. He bounds up the inn's front steps like a golden retriever, probably already planning his Instagram posts. I give them an hour to get settled, then walk into the lobby with my camera and a story about being a freelance photographer covering local tourism. The desk clerk, a college-aged kid with impressive facial piercings, is happy to chat about the inn's most photogenic spots. "The ocean view rooms are definitely the most popular," he says, pointing toward the second floor. "Room 237 has the best balcony for sunset shots. Room 237. I file that information away and spend the afternoon taking legitimate photos of the inn's exterior, the gardens, the scenic overlooks. Just a photographer doing his job, nothing suspicious about it. As the sun starts to set, I position myself across the street with a telephoto lens. Sure enough, Sienna and Tristan emerge onto the balcony of room 237, wine glasses in hand, her head on his shoulder as they watch the sunset. They look like a stock photo of young love. Click, click, click. The photos are crystal clear. Sienna's face, Tristan's profile, the intimate body language, the romantic setting. No hacking required, no illegal surveillance. Just good old-fashioned documentation of adultery. I text the best photos to myself, then head home. On the drive back, I stop at a FedEx store and print copies of everything. The emails, the photos, the hotel reservation. I prepare 3 identical packages with different addresses. The first package goes to Sienna's boss, Margaret Torres, the no-nonsense HR director, who's built her reputation on maintaining professional standards. The second goes to Tristan's supervisor in the marketing department. The third goes to the company's ethics hotline. Each package includes a simple note. Thought you should be aware of this misuse of company resources and violation of workplace conduct policies. I mail them Saturday morning, then spend the weekend working in my shop, building a new bookshelf with methodical precision. Measure twice, cut once, every joint perfect, every angle true. There's something deeply satisfying about creating something that will last, something built on a solid foundation. Sienna returns Sunday night, glowing with what she thinks is her secret happiness. She's practically humming as she unpacks, telling me elaborate stories about conference sessions and networking dinners that never happened. "How was your weekend?" she asks. not really listening as she sorts through her clothes. Productive, I say. Got a lot accomplished. Monday morning, the packages arrive at Sienna's office. I know this because Margaret Torres calls me at 9:47 a.m. Mr. Harper, this is Margaret Torres from Pinnacle Tech Solutions. I need to speak with your wife immediately. Is she available? She's at work, I say, my voice carefully neutral. Is there a problem? There's been a serious allegation regarding professional conduct. I need her in my office within the hour. I hang up and wait. It doesn't take long. My phone explodes with calls and texts from Sienna. 17 missed calls in 20 minutes, each voicemail more frantic than the last. Evan, what did you do? They're saying I violated company policy. They have photos. Call me back. This is insane. Someone sent HR pictures of me and Tristan. How is this even possible? Answer your freaking phone. They're talking about suspension. This could ruin everything. I let them all go to voicemail. At lunch, I drive to the Glass Tap, the local bar where I've been drinking with the same group of guys every Friday for 5 years. Word travels fast in small communities, and by the time I arrive, everyone's heard about the drama at Pinnacle Tech. Holy crap, Evan, says my best friend Brick Morrison, sliding a beer across the bar. Brick got his nickname in the Marines, 6'4", built like a linebacker, with hands that could crush walnuts and a heart soft as butter. Is it true? Sienna's been stepping out. The entire bar goes quiet. 12 guys I've known for years, all waiting for the story. In a moment like this, you can either be the victim or the narrator. I choose narrator. Well, I say, taking a long pull of my beer, let's just say her business conference had some very personal networking opportunities. The reaction is immediate. Laughter, outrage, demands for details. These are good guys, welders, electricians, contractors, cops, men who understand loyalty and marriage and the kind of betrayal that cuts deep. But they also understand revenge. What are you going to do? Asked Tommy Reeves, a plumber who's been married to his high school sweetheart for 20 years. Nothing illegal, I say. Nothing unethical. Just making sure the truth comes to light. You need any help with that? Brick asks, and I can see he means it. Brick's the kind of friend who'd help you move a body without asking questions, though hopefully it won't come to that. Not yet, but I'll let you know. I'm halfway through my second beer when the bar door slams open and Sienna storms in, still in her work clothes, eyes red from crying, fury and desperation radiating from every pore. The entire bar turns to stare. A woman in business attire in a blue-collar dive bar is unusual enough, but a woman clearly in the middle of a personal crisis is pure entertainment. There you are, she shouts, marching toward me with her heels clicking on the worn wooden floor. We need to talk, now. I take another sip of my beer, completely calm. I'm having a drink with my friends. You remember my friends, right? The embarrassing blue-collar guys you hate being seen with? Don't you dare turn this around on me. You destroyed my career. You sent those photos to my boss. The bar is dead silent now. Every conversation stopped. Every eye on us. This is better than cable TV. I didn't destroy anything, I say, my voice carrying that dry sarcasm that's become my trademark. I just documented your business conference. Very thorough networking, by the way. That sunset shot was particularly professional. She raises her hand like she's going to slap me, but Brick stands up behind me, all 6'4" of him, unfolding like a mountain coming to life. Sienna's hand drops. You bastard, she hisses. Do you know what you've done? They suspended me pending investigation. Tristan's been fired. This is all over the office. Sounds like your company takes professional conduct seriously. Good for them. This isn't over, she says, backing toward the door. You think you're so smart, but I know things about you too. I know where you hide your money. I know about your business deals. You know nothing, I interrupt, standing up slowly. Because there's nothing to know. I pay my taxes, I honor my contracts, and I keep my promises, all of them, even the ones that became inconvenient. She stares at me for a long moment, probably realizing for the first time that she's not dealing with the pushover husband she thought she married. Then she turns and storms out, leaving the bar in stunned silence. After a moment, Tommy raises his beer. To Evan Harper, he says loudly, the man who proved that sometimes justice is as simple as pressing send. The entire bar erupts in cheers and laughter. I finish my beer, leave a 20 on the bar, and head home. Phase 1 is complete. The next morning brings an unexpected visitor. Tessa Lynn stands on my front porch at 7 a.m., holding 2 cups of coffee and wearing the expression of someone who's been up all night thinking. Tess has been part of Sienna's social circle for 3 years, ever since she moved to town to teach at the elementary school. Pretty, quiet, the kind of person who listens more than she talks. What most people don't know is that Tess has been secretly in love with Sienna's life, the successful husband, the beautiful house, the perfect marriage that everyone envied. "I brought coffee," she says simply. "We need to talk." I invite her in, curious. Tessa's never visited without Sienna, never called, never even texted me directly. We settle in my kitchen, morning sunlight streaming through the windows I installed myself. "I know what she did," Tessa says without preamble. "I've known for months. This is interesting. And you didn't think to mention it?" It wasn't my place, but now, she takes a shaky breath. Now, I can't stay quiet anymore. She's been lying to everyone, Evan. Not just about Tristan. About you, about your marriage, about everything. What do you mean? Tessa pulls out her phone and shows me a group chat. Sienna, Kara, and 3 other women I recognize from various social gatherings. The messages go back months, and they're brutal. "Look at this," Tessa says, scrolling to a conversation from 6 weeks ago. Sienna: "Evan's so embarrassing. He actually wanted to come to the gallery opening tonight." Kara: "Ugh, why? He'll just stand there in his work boots looking confused." Sienna: "I told him it was women only. He believed it, of course." Kara: "You're terrible, but honestly, he doesn't fit with your new image." Sienna: "Tell me about it. Sometimes I wonder what I was thinking when I married him. There are dozens of messages like this, mocking my clothes, my truck, my friends, my profession, planning events specifically to exclude me, laughing about how easy it is to lie to me. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Tessa's eyes flash with something that might be anger. Because I'm tired of watching her destroy everything good in her life. You're a decent man, Evan. You didn't deserve this. And because she's been spreading rumors about me at school, telling people I'm unprofessional, that I drink too much, that I'm jealous of her success. She's trying to poison my reputation because she thinks I'm competition. There it is. Tessa's not just being altruistic, she's being strategic. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and all that. What do you want? I ask. I want to help you. I have more screenshots, more evidence, and I know things about Kara that Sienna doesn't know I know. This is getting interesting. Such as the fact that Kara's been embezzling from her nonprofit. Small amounts, but consistent. And she's been having her own affair with her personal trainer. Sienna thinks Kara's her loyal best friend, but Kara's just as much a fraud as she is. I study Tessa's face, looking for the angle. Everyone has one. Why should I trust you? Because I'm not asking you to trust me, she says simply. I'm offering you information. What you do with it is up to you. She's right. Trust isn't required for a temporary alliance. Show me what you have. For the next hour, Tessa lays out a comprehensive case against Sienna's entire social circle. Screenshots of group chats, photos from events I was deliberately excluded from, evidence of lies and manipulations going back years. It's like discovering an entire shadow life I never knew existed. Jesus, I mutter, scrolling through months of deception. How long has this been going on? Since she got the promotion last year. She decided she needed to upgrade her image, and that included upgrading her social circle. You were supposed to be temporary, I think, just until she figured out how to trade up. The words sting, but they also clarify everything. This wasn't a marriage that fell apart. It was a marriage that was actively dismantled. What's your plan? Tessa asks. I lean back in my chair, thinking. Sienna's suspension from work was just the opening move. She still has her social circle, her reputation in the community, her sense of superiority. She still thinks she can spin this, control the narrative, come out on top. I'm going to let her dig her own grave, I say finally, and then I'm going to hand her the shovel. Tessa smiles for the first time since she arrived. I was hoping you'd say that. That afternoon, Kara Whitman calls me. This is unprecedented. Kara's barely spoken to me in 3 years, treating me like furniture whenever she's in my house. Now suddenly she wants to chat. Evan, honey, she purrs into the phone. I think we should talk. About Sienna, about this whole mess. Maybe we can work something out. Work something out? Well, you know how these things go. Marriages have problems, people make mistakes, but that doesn't mean everything has to be destroyed. Maybe we could meet for coffee, just to talk? I almost laugh. Kara's trying to play mediator, probably at Sienna's request. Or maybe she's working her own angle. Sure, I say. The glass tap, 6 o'clock. Oh, I was thinking somewhere more private. My place, maybe? Now I do laugh. The glass tap, Kara, 6 o'clock. I arrive early and choose a corner booth where I can see the entire bar. Brick's working late, but Tommy and a few of the other regulars are at their usual spots. When Kara walks in at 6:15 wearing a dress that's way too tight and heels that are way too high for a dive bar, every head turns. She slides into the booth across from me, all perfume and fake smiles. This place is so authentic, she says, looking around like she's visiting a zoo. It's honest, I say. You know, people say what they mean what they say. Novel concept. She orders a cosmopolitan, which the bartender has to Google. I stick with beer. So, she says, leaning forward to show off her cleavage, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Sienna never meant to hurt you. She's just been confused, you know? Going through a phase. A phase that included booking hotel rooms with her coworker. She was feeling neglected, Evan. When was the last time you took her somewhere romantic? When was the last time you made her feel special? I take a long drink of my beer, studying her face. Kara's always been attractive in an obvious way. Blonde highlights, fake nails, the kind of woman who thinks her looks are a superpower. But up close, I can see the desperation underneath. You're right, I say finally. I should have taken her to more romantic places, like that hotel in Portsmouth. Very thoughtful of Tristan to handle the arrangements. Kara's smile falters slightly. Look, what if I could convince her to end it with Tristan? What if she came home, apologized, tried to make things right? Would you be willing to forgive her? Why would you want that? Because I care about both of you. You're good people who made bad choices. I lean back, letting the silence stretch. Kara fidgets with her drink, clearly uncomfortable. Or, I say slowly, maybe you're worried that if Sienna goes down, she'll take you with her. What's that supposed to mean? It means I know about the nonprofit money, Kara. I know about your creative bookkeeping. I know about your personal trainer. I know a lot of things. The color drains from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. The question is, what are you willing to do to keep those secrets? She stares at me for a long moment, probably seeing me clearly for the first time in years. Not the boring husband she can manipulate, but a man who's done his homework. What do you want? She whispers. I want you to stop lying. I want you to stop covering for Sienna. And I want you to start telling people the truth about what's been going on. And if I don't, I pull out my phone and show her a screenshot of her nonprofit's financial records, which Tessa helped me obtain through a mutual friend on the board. Then I'll let the State Attorney General's office decide what to do with this information. Kara stares at the screen, her hands shaking slightly. You bastard. I'm just a guy who builds cabinets and drives a pickup truck, I say, standing up and leaving a 20 on the table, but I'm very good at following instructions, and the instructions for dealing with fraud are pretty clear. I walk out of the bar, leaving Kara alone with her cosmopolitan and her choices. Phase 2 is complete. The beauty of a small town is that secrets don't stay secret for long. By Thursday, everyone knows that Sienna Harper is on administrative leave pending investigation, that she was caught having an affair, and that her husband documented the whole thing with photographic evidence. What they don't know yet is that the story's just getting started. I'm in my workshop Thursday evening, putting the finishing touches on a custom dining table, when my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This is Tristan. We need to talk. I stare at the message for a moment, then type back, No, we don't. Please, I know you hate me, but there are things you need to know about Sienna. Things that will change everything. This is interesting. The golden boy wants to make a deal. The glass tap, 1 hour. Somewhere private. The glass tap, 1 hour. Come alone. Tristan Bell looks like heck when he walks into the bar. His perfect hair is disheveled, his designer clothes wrinkled, his usual confidence replaced by the hollow-eyed look of a man whose life has imploded. He spots me in the corner booth and approaches like he's walking to his execution. Thank you for meeting me, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. You've got 10 minutes. He orders a whiskey, doubles apparently, and takes a long drink before speaking. I know what you think of me, he begins. And you're right, I'm a selfish a-hole who helped destroy your marriage. But I need you to understand something. Sienna played me just like she played you. How's that? She told me your marriage was over. She said you were separated, just living in the same house for financial reasons. She said you knew about us and didn't care because you were seeing someone else too. I almost laugh. And you believed that? She was convincing. She had explanations for everything. Why she still wore her ring for appearances at work. Why she couldn't introduce me to her friends because the divorce wasn't final yet. Why we had to sneak around because you were vindictive and would try to take everything in the settlement. So you were just a victim in all this? No, he says, and I give him credit for that. I was an idiot who wanted to believe what I was being told because it made the relationship feel guilt-free. But there's more, Evan. Things about Sienna that you need to know. He pulls out his phone and shows me a series of text messages. Look at this, from last week after the photos surfaced. Sienna, this is all your fault. You were supposed to be discreet. Tristan, you never told me he was following us. Sienna, I'm not going down for this. I'll tell them you forced me, that it wasn't consensual. Tristan, what the heck? You can't be serious. Sienna, watch me. I'll destroy you before I let you destroy me. I read through the entire conversation, watching Sienna transform from loving girlfriend to calculating predator in the span of a dozen messages. She's going to claim inappropriate conduct, Tristan continues. She's going to say I used my position to pressure her, that she was afraid to say no because it would hurt her career. She's building a case to make herself the victim. This is actually impressive, in a sociopathic way. Turn the affair into assault, the cheating wife into the wronged woman, the other man into the villain. It's bold, it's vicious, and it might actually work. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm scared, he admits. If she follows through, I'm not just fired, I'm unemployable. My reputation, my career, everything's gone. And because, he takes another drink. Because I think she's done this before. What do you mean? I did some digging after she threatened me. Called a friend at her previous company, asked some casual questions. There was a guy there, similar situation. Affair with a coworker, but when it went bad, she claimed maltreatment. He was fired. She got promoted to his position. The pieces click into place. Sienna's rapid career advancement, her confidence in navigating office politics, her ability to manipulate situations to her advantage. This isn't her first rodeo. You have proof of this? Some. Enough to raise questions. But I need your help. My help? You're her husband. If you back up her maltreatment claims, I'm finished. But if you contradict them, if you show that she was an active participant in the affair, then her whole story falls apart. I finish my beer, thinking. Tristan's asking me to save him from the same woman who destroyed our marriage. There's a certain poetic justice in that. What exactly are you proposing? An alliance. I have information about Sienna's past, her methods, her lies. You have evidence of her current behavior. Together, we can make sure the truth comes out. And what's in it for me? Revenge, he says simply. Complete, total devastating revenge. She's planning to destroy both of us. Let's destroy her first. I study his face, looking for the angle, the deception, the trap. But all I see is fear and desperation and a man who's finally seeing Sienna Harper for what she really is. I'll think about it, I say, standing up. Don't think too long, Tristan calls after me. She's meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. Once she files the maltreatment complaint, it'll be too late to stop this. I drive home through the quiet suburban streets, past houses where normal couples are probably having normal problems. Money, kids, in-laws, the mundane friction of daily life. I used to envy that simplicity. Now, I'm not sure I'd trade it for the clarity that comes with total war. At home, I find Sienna in the kitchen, surrounded by legal documents and looking like she hasn't slept in days. She looks up when I enter, and for a moment, I see a flash of the woman I married, vulnerable, uncertain, almost human. We need to talk, she says. About your maltreatment complaint? She freezes, then recovers quickly. I don't know what you mean. Sure you do. Tristan told me all about it. Very creative, by the way. Turn yourself from cheating wife to victim of workplace assault. I'm impressed. He's lying. He's desperate and he's lying. Is he? Or are you just following the same playbook you used at your last job? Now she goes completely still. What are you talking about? I'm talking about David Morrison at Syntex Solutions. I'm talking about how you slept your way into his position, then claimed maltreatment when the relationship went bad. I'm talking about a pattern of behavior that goes back years. For the first time since this whole thing started, Sienna looks genuinely afraid. You don't know what you're talking about, she whispers. I know exactly what I'm talking about. The question is, what are you going to do about it? She stares at me for a long moment, probably calculating odds, weighing options, planning her next move. Finally, she speaks. What do you want? I want the truth, all of it. The real reasons for the affair, the real timeline, the real plan. And I want you to drop the maltreatment complaint. And if I don't, then I'll make sure everyone knows about David Morrison, and everyone else there might have been. I'll make sure your pattern of behavior becomes public record. She's trapped, and she knows it. But Sienna Harper doesn't surrender easily. Fine, she says finally. You want the truth? Here's the truth. I never loved you. Not really. You were safe, stable, a good provider while I figured out what I really wanted. But I outgrew you, Evan. I outgrew this house, this town, this boring suburban life. I deserve better. And Tristan is better? Tristan is young and successful and going places. He has ambition, connections, a future that doesn't involve sawdust and pickup trucks. Had, I correct. Past tense. Because after your little blackmail attempt, I don't think he's going anywhere. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. You think you've won something? You think destroying my career and my relationship makes you the hero of this story? You're still the same boring, small-town nobody you always were, and I'm still better than this place. Maybe, I say, but you're not better than the consequences of your choices. I leave her in the kitchen with her legal documents and her delusions of superiority. Upstairs, I pack a bag and call Brick. I need a place to stay for a few days. Done. What's the plan? War, I say simply. Total war. Brick Morrison lives in a converted warehouse on the industrial side of town. All exposed brick and steel beams and the kind of masculine simplicity that comes from having your priorities straight. He clears out his spare room without questions, stocks the fridge with beer, and settles in to watch the show. So what's the play? He asks over breakfast Friday morning. Sienna's planning to file maltreatment charges against Tristan today. She thinks that'll make her the victim and salvage her reputation. And you're going to stop her? I'm going to let her do it. Then I'm going to destroy her credibility so completely that no one will believe anything she says ever again. Brick grins. I love it when you get diabolical. The first phase begins at 9 a.m. when Margaret Torres calls me. Mr. Harper, I need you to come in for a meeting. Your wife has made some serious allegations, and we need to get your perspective on the situation. I'll be there in an hour. Pinnacle Tech Solutions occupies 3 floors of a glass office building that's trying very hard to look innovative and cutting edge. Margaret Torres meets me in the lobby, a woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and the no-nonsense demeanor of someone who's seen every workplace drama imaginable. Thank you for coming, she says as we ride the elevator to the 3rd floor. I'll be direct. Your wife has filed a formal complaint alleging that Tristan Bell used his position to coerce her into an inappropriate relationship. She claims she was afraid to report it because she feared retaliation. And you want to know if I corroborate her story? I want to know the truth. We settle in her office, a space that manages to be both professional and welcoming. Margaret Torres strikes me as the kind of person who genuinely cares about doing the right thing, which makes this easier. The truth is complicated, I begin, then lay out everything. The emails I found, the hotel surveillance, the timeline of lies and deception. I show her the screenshots of Sienna's group chat messages mocking me, the evidence of premeditation, the pattern of behavior. This wasn't maltreatment, I conclude. This was a calculated affair by someone who thought she was smart enough to get away with it. Margaret studies the evidence for a long time, her expression growing more grim with each revelation. Mr. Harper, I need to ask, are you willing to testify to these facts if this becomes a legal matter? Absolutely. And you're certain about the authenticity of this evidence? Every screenshot, every photo, every document, I can provide the originals for verification. She nods slowly. I'll need to investigate further, but based on what you've shown me, it appears your wife may have filed a false complaint. That's a serious matter with serious consequences. I understand. There's something else. We've been investigating some irregularities in expense reports from the marketing department, unauthorized charges, questionable business trips, misuse of company resources. Your wife's name has come up repeatedly. This is better than I hoped. What kind of irregularities? The hotel in Portsmouth, for one. Charged to the company as a client meeting, but we have no record of any client in that area. And there are others, restaurants, hotels, entertainment expenses that don't match any legitimate business purpose. Sienna's been stealing from her own company to fund her affair. The irony is beautiful. What happens now? Now I have some very difficult conversations to conduct. I leave Pinnacle Tech feeling lighter than I have in months. Phase 1 of the endgame is complete. Phase 2 begins at the glass tap that evening. Word has spread through the neighborhood about Sienna's maltreatment allegations, and the reaction is exactly what I expected. Blue-collar guys don't have much patience for false accusations, especially when they're being used to cover up adultery. "She's claiming maltreatment now?" Tommy asks incredulously. "After you caught her red-handed in a hotel room?" "That's the story," I confirm. "What kind of maltreatment involves booking your own hotel room?" Brick adds, and the entire bar erupts in laughter. "The kind where you get caught," someone calls out, triggering another round of laughter. This is exactly what I was counting on. In a small community, reputation matters, and Sienna's reputation is becoming toxic. Every person in this bar will tell their wives, who will tell their friends, who will tell their neighbors. By tomorrow, everyone in town will know that Sienna Harper cried maltreatment after being caught cheating. But I'm not done yet. Phase 3 begins Saturday morning when Tessa calls with an update. "Kara's starting to crack," she reports. "She's been calling everyone, trying to do damage control, but it's not working. And she's scared about the nonprofit investigation." "What investigation?" "The one that started yesterday when someone, and I wonder who, sent the state attorney general's office detailed financial records showing embezzlement." I smile. Interesting timing. It gets better. Kara's so panicked that she started telling people the truth about Sienna, about the group chat, the lies, the manipulation. She's throwing Sienna under the bus to save herself. And the others? Jumping ship as fast as they can. Nobody wants to be associated with this mess. Sienna's completely isolated. This is the beauty of building a house of cards on lies and manipulation. When it starts to fall, it all comes down at once. The final phase begins Sunday evening when Sienna calls me. Her voice barely controlled hysteria. "You have to help me," she pleads. "They're saying I filed a false complaint. They're talking about criminal charges. My lawyer says I could go to jail." That sounds serious. "Don't you dare act innocent. I know this is your doing. You orchestrated all of this." "I didn't orchestrate anything. I just stopped covering for you." "What do you want? Money? The house? I'll give you whatever you want in the divorce. Just help me fix this." "There's nothing to fix, Sienna. This is just consequences catching up to choices." "Please," she whispers, and for a moment she sounds like the woman I married. "I'm sorry. I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong, but please don't let them destroy me." "I'm not destroying you," I say quietly. "You destroyed yourself. I'm just making sure everyone can see the wreckage clearly." The line goes quiet for a long moment. "I'll make you pay for this," she finally says, her voice cold and hard again. "I'll find a way to make you pay." "No," I say, "you won't. Because after tomorrow, nobody's going to believe anything you say about anything." I hang up and pour myself a bourbon. Tomorrow, Margaret Torres will announce the results of her investigation. Tomorrow, the state attorney general will announce charges against Kara for embezzlement. Tomorrow, the whole house of cards will finish falling. But tonight, I'm going to sit in my workshop, surrounded by my tools and my honest work, and build something that will last. Monday morning arrives with the kind of crisp autumn clarity that makes everything seem sharper, more defined. I'm in my workshop by 6 a.m., putting the final finish on a jewelry box I've been crafting, a wedding gift for Tommy's daughter who's getting married next month. The irony isn't lost on me. My phone buzzes at 8:47 a.m. Margaret Torres. "Mr. Harper, I wanted to update you on our investigation. We've concluded that Mrs. Harper's maltreatment complaint was false and malicious. We're terminating her employment immediately and referring the matter to law enforcement for potential criminal charges. And Tristan?" Mr. Bell's termination stands. "He violated company policy by engaging in a relationship with a coworker. But we're not pursuing criminal charges against him." Fair enough. There's more. Our investigation uncovered approximately $12,000 in fraudulent expense claims over the past 18 months. We're also referring that matter to law enforcement. $12,000. Sienna's been funding her affair and her lifestyle upgrades by stealing from her own company. The woman who criticized my embarrassing blue-collar income was literally a thief. Thank you for letting me know. Mr. Harper? For what it's worth, I'm sorry you had to go through this, but I'm glad you came forward with the truth. I hang up and return to my jewelry box. The wood is tiger maple, the joinery perfect, the finish smooth as glass. It will last for generations, a testament to honest craftsmanship and careful attention to detail. Unlike my marriage. By noon, the news is all over town. Sienna Harper fired for filing false maltreatment charges and embezzling company funds. The woman who thought she was too good for her blue-collar husband caught stealing money to pay for hotel rooms with her lover. My phone doesn't stop ringing. Reporters wanting comments, neighbors offering support, old friends checking in. I ignore most of them, but I do answer when Brick calls. Holy crap, Evan. They're saying she might face felony charges. That's between her and the district attorney. How do you feel about it? I consider the question seriously. How do I feel about watching my wife's life implode in spectacular fashion? Like justice, I say finally. It feels like justice. That afternoon, Tessa stops by with news about the wider social fallout. Kara's been arrested, she reports, settling into my kitchen with coffee. The embezzlement charges are serious. They're talking about 5 to 7 years if she's convicted. And the others? Running for cover. Jennifer's claiming she barely knew Sienna. Rachel's telling everyone she always suspected something was wrong. Sarah's actually apologizing to people for being part of the group chat. What about Sienna? Holed up in that apartment she rented downtown. Nobody's seen her since Friday. Her lawyer's trying to work out a plea deal, but the DA's not feeling generous. I nod, unsurprised. In a small town, public officials can't afford to look soft on white-collar crime, especially when it's this blatant and this stupid. There's something else, Tessa continues. I heard from someone at the school district that Sienna applied for a teaching position last week before everything exploded. Obviously, that's not happening now. She applied to be a teacher? Elementary education. Apparently, she was planning to leave tech and find something more meaningful. The application listed you as a reference. I almost laugh. Even in the middle of destroying our marriage, Sienna was planning to use my reputation to advance her next career move. The audacity is breathtaking. Did you know? Tessa asks. I didn't know anything, I say. Turns out I never knew anything. Tuesday brings an unexpected visitor. Tristan Bell stands on my front porch, looking even worse than he did at the bar. His golden boy confidence is completely gone, replaced by the hollow-eyed exhaustion of a man whose life has been thoroughly destroyed. I wanted to thank you, he says without preamble. For what? For telling the truth. If you had backed up her maltreatment story, I'd be facing criminal charges right now instead of just unemployment and public humiliation. I study his face, looking for sarcasm or resentment, but all I see is genuine gratitude. You're welcome. I also wanted to apologize. Not just for the affair, but for being so freaking stupid about everything. You tried to warn me in your way, and I was too arrogant to listen. What's next for you? I'm leaving town, going back to California, staying with my brother until I figure out what comes next. My career in marketing is pretty much over. Nobody's going to hire someone with my reputation. What reputation is that? The guy who was stupid enough to get played by Sienna Harper. There's a certain justice in that. Tristan Bell, the golden boy who thought he could steal another man's wife without consequences, reduced to a cautionary tale about the dangers of thinking with your Johnson. For what it's worth, I say, she played me too, for 8 years. Yeah, but you figured it out. You fought back. I just rolled over and let her destroy me. You testified against her. That took courage. That took desperation. There's a difference. He turns to leave, then stops. Can I ask you something? How did you know? How did you figure out what she really was? I think about this seriously. When did I stop seeing Sienna as the woman I married and start seeing her as the enemy she'd become? When she pushed me away at the charity gala, I say finally. Not because she was embarrassed, but because she wanted everyone to know she was available. That's when I realized she wasn't trying to save our marriage. She was trying to end it without taking responsibility. Tristan nods slowly. She told me you were boring, that you had no ambition, no vision, no understanding of what she needed. What did she need? An audience. Someone to witness her success, admire her image, validate her superiority. She didn't need a husband. She needed a fan club. It's a remarkably perceptive observation from someone who was, until recently, a card-carrying member of that fan club. Good luck in California, I say. Thanks. And Evan, for what it's worth, I think you're better off without her. I watch him drive away in his red BMW, probably for the last time. Another casualty of Hurricane Sienna, blown away by winds of his own making. Wednesday brings the final piece of the puzzle. Margaret Torres calls with an update on the criminal investigation. The district attorney has offered your wife a plea agreement, guilty to 1 count of filing a false police report and 1 count of theft by deception. 18 months probation, full restitution, and a permanent criminal record. And if she doesn't take it? Then it goes to trial, and she's looking at potential felony convictions and actual jail time. Her lawyer's recommending she take the plea. Will she? Her arraignment is Friday. We'll know then. Friday arrives gray and cold, autumn sliding toward winter. I don't go to the courthouse. I have no desire to see Sienna's final humiliation in person. But Tessa does, and she calls me afterward with the details. She took the plea, Tessa reports. Stood up in front of the judge, admitted to filing false charges, and stealing money from her employer. The judge was not impressed. How did she look? Broken. Completely broken. Her lawyer had to help her stand up when the judge was talking. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost? Then I remembered all the people she hurt, all the lies she told, all the damage she caused. My sympathy didn't last long. That evening, I'm in the glass tap, celebrating Tommy's birthday with the usual crowd when Brick raises his beer in a toast. To Evan Harper, he announces loudly, the man who proved that sometimes the good guys really do win. The entire bar erupts in cheers and applause. These men, welders, electricians, contractors, cops, understand something that Sienna's sophisticated social circle never did. They understand loyalty, honesty, the value of keeping your word and doing your job and standing by your friends. They understand that character matters more than image, that integrity beats sophistication, that truth is more powerful than manipulation. Speech, someone shouts, and the crowd takes up the chant. I stand up, beer in hand, looking around at these faces. Men who've had my back through 15 years of friendship, who never questioned my worth or found me embarrassing, who understood instinctively that a man who builds things with his hands is worth 10 of someone who destroys things with lies. I'm not much for speeches, I begin, and the crowd laughs. But I want to say this. When everything in your life falls apart, you find out who your real friends are, and you guys never let me doubt that I had real friends. More cheers, more applause. Sienna thought she was trading up when she decided I wasn't good enough for her new image. But you can't trade up from honest friendship, from genuine loyalty, from people who value you for who you are instead of what you can do for them. I raise my beer. So here's to all of you. Thanks for reminding me that some things are worth more than money, more than status, more than image. Thanks for reminding me that character still matters. The bar erupts in the loudest cheer yet, and I sit down to backslaps and handshakes and the kind of genuine warmth that money can't buy and image can't fake. Later, driving home through the quiet streets of my neighborhood, I pass the apartment complex where Sienna's been living since everything fell apart. Her white Audi is in the parking lot, looking somehow smaller and less impressive than it used to. I don't slow down, don't look back, don't feel anything but a mild curiosity about what she'll do next. The woman who destroyed our marriage, betrayed her employer, lied to her friends, and tried to frame an innocent man for maltreatment is no longer my problem. She's just another stranger making bad choices and living with the consequences. At home, I pour myself a bourbon and sit in my workshop, surrounded by my tools and my honest work. Tomorrow, I'll start building something new. Maybe a dining room set, maybe a bookshelf, maybe something I haven't even imagined yet. But whatever I build, it will be solid, well-crafted, and built to last. Just like the life I'm going to build without Sienna Harper. The ring's off the table. So is everything else that was false, manipulative, and destructive. What's left is truth, integrity, and the quiet satisfaction of a job well done.